This time, I would like to call the Springfield Local Schools Board of Education April meeting to order. Chris, could you please do the roll?
Mr. Hofer. Here. Mrs. Dodson.
Here.
Mr. Petrie.
Here.
Mr. Hess.
Here.
Mr. Lance.
Here.
At this time, would all rise and please say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next item on our agenda is an executive session. I know that there's several people in attendance tonight. I'm sure there's probably several more people watching online. I know the last thing you probably want is for us to leave and go into executive session. However, you know, in light of recent events, the board needs a little bit of time to talk. Some of the issues could have legal ramifications that we need to discuss with our legal counsel. I want you to know we value your time, and we will come out of executive session as quickly as we can. But at this time, it is recommended that the board go into executive session at this time to discuss the employment, dismissal, discipline, demotion, or compensation of an employee, the investigation of charges or complaints against an employee, conference with the board's attorney to discuss matters which are the subject of pending or imminent court action, preparing for negotiations with employees. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Mr. Hofer and then Mr. Lance, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Hofer.
Yes.
Mr. Lance.
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson.
Yes.
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
Mr. Petrie.
Yes.
We're going to go into executive session. We will come out as quickly as we can.
We're going to move down the hallway down here to the band choir area.
We are back from executive session. Item number 6, unpaid leave of absence. It is recommended that the board approve an unpaid leave of absence for certified employee Brad Bune effective April 16th, 2021.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Chris, can we please have a roll call when you're ready?
Yep. Give me a second. That was Chad and Mr. Hofer.
Dave was first, Chad
Okay.
was second.
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
Mr. Lance.
Yes.
Mr. Petrie.
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson.
Yes.
Mr. Hofer.
Yes.
Motion passes. Larry, would you like to read a statement from the board?
Statement of the Springfield Local School Board of Education. We were shocked to learn that on Friday, District Director of Special Services Brad Bune was arrested by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The FBI has since revealed deeply disturbing allegations against Mr. Bune, including that Mr. Bune believed to have arranged to meet an adult and a minor for the purposes of sexual activity, but was instead arrested by undercover agents. Yesterday, the FBI stated that Mr. Bune has been federally charged with coercion or enticement. From the moment we learned of this incident, our school superintendent, Mr. Sincere, has kept our parents and staff informed with the facts the FBI shared with him. What we know for sure is that Mr. Bune's arrest took place off school grounds, and we have been assured by authorities that none of the allegations involved any Springfield school student. All the information we have shared with you was received from and approved by the FBI. Our number one priority is safety of our students. As soon as we were notified about this situation, Mr. Bune was placed on administrative leave with pay following the district's protocol. Immediately, Mr. Bune was barred from attending all school functions, forbidden on school grounds, and prohibited from doing any business on behalf of the school. Mr. Bune has been employed with Springfield Local Schools for over 7 years, and his work record until Friday was exemplary. That is why these allegations are so devastating and horrifying. But I want to be very clear, we absolutely and without reservation condemn the behavior that is set forth in the FBI's affidavit. We know that Mr. Bune is entitled to the presumption of innocence, so we are following the court case closely and anxious to learn the truth. The investigation by the FBI is ongoing, and we are fully cooperating with the authorities. We encourage anyone that has had any information about the situation to contact Superintendent Sincere, any member of our board, or the FBI directly. The FBI is further encouraging anyone who has had contact with Brad Bune and believe he has acted inappropriately toward them or their children to please call 1-877-FBI, Ohio. All information will be strictly confidential. We hope if you have questions, you will reach out to one of us or Mr. Sincere. We will do our best to address all questions and concerns.
Thank you, Larry. Item 7, approval of minutes. It is recommended that the board approve the minutes of the regular meeting of March 16th, 2021 in Exhibit 1.
So moved.
Thank you, Mary Lou. Thank you, Dave.
Mr. Hess,
Yes.
Mr. Petrie,
Yes.
Mr. Lance,
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson,
Yes.
Mr. Hofer.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item number 8, citizens' comments on agenda items. Normally, we would limit comments to 5 minutes. I think that, given the circumstances, I understand that people might have a lot to say. I think tonight there will be no limit on the time. Whatever you have to say, we will listen to everything you have. If you have questions, we might not have the answers tonight. We might not be able to give the answers tonight, but I promise you we will listen. So if anybody has comments, please at this time. There will also be another comment period at the end of the meeting if you like that as well. Seeing no comments at this time, I will move on to item number 9, payment of bills. It is recommended that the board approve payment of bills for the month of March pending audit in Exhibit 2.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Dave.
Chad.
Oh, thank you, Chad. Sorry.
Say my name down here.
Sorry, Chad. Chris, will we please have a roll call?
Mr. Hofer,
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson,
Yes.
Mr. Petrie,
Yes.
Mr. Hess,
Yes.
Mr. Lance.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item number 10, acceptance of financial reports. It is recommended that the board accept the financial reports from the treasurer for the March 2021, Exhibits 3, 4, and 5.
So moved.
We have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. Chris, the roll call, please?
Mr. Petrie,
Yes.
Mr. Hofer,
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson,
Yes.
Mr. Lance,
Yes.
Mr. Hess.
Yes. Motion passes. Item number 11, personnel. It is recommended that the board accept, approve the following personnel items. 11.1, resignation. Resignation of classified employee Teresa Watkins from her everyday reading position only, effective February 8, 2021. 11.2, resignation. Resignation of classified employee Sandra Hout, effective April 1st, 2021. 11.3, unpaid leave of absence. Approve an unpaid leave of absence for classified employee Joanna Hanshaw, beginning April 12th, 2021 through April 30th, 2021. 11.4, employment. Employ classified employee Brandy Bissell as an everyday reading program teaching assistant at Spring Hill Elementary per the negotiated agreement pending proper licensure effective March 9th, 2021. This is in addition to her 2-hour educational aid position. 11.5, tenure. Approve tenure for certified employee Joyce Housley, who had attained continuing contract status through her previous employment and has successfully completed more than 2 years of service since being employed into her tutor position, and therefore has met continuing contract requirements of the Ohio Revised Code. 11.6, tenure. Approve tenure for certified employee Danielle Smith, who was initially licensed after January 1st, 2011, holds a professional license, has appropriate credit hours, has at least 3 years' experience in the district, and has held an educator license for at least 7 years, and is therefore recommended for a continuing contract effective the 2021-22 school year pending proper documentation to meet requirements. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mary Lou. Thank you, Larry.
Mr. Lance?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 12, service plan contract. It is recommended that the board approve the service plan contract with the Summit Educational Service Center for the 2021-22 school year in Exhibit 6 and 6A.
So moved.
Have a second, please.
Second.
Any questions? Chris, can I please have the roll call?
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Lance?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 13, service contract, Summit ESC. It is recommended that the board approve a service contract with the Summit Educational Service Center to provide employment services during the 2021-22 school year at the cost of salary and benefits plus any other costs incurred in the employment of the individuals upon written request of the district superintendent or designee in items 7 and 7A.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Mary Lou.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Mr. Lance?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes. Motion passes. Item 14, service agreement, LLA Therapy. It is recommended that the board approve a service agreement with LLA Therapy, LLC, to provide therapy services as necessary to the students of Springfield local schools from July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2024 in Exhibit 8.
So moved. Second.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Chad.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Lance?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 15, service agreement, school law hotline. It is recommended that the board approve a service agreement with the school law hotline, which confirms that the law firm of McGowan and Markling Company, LPA, will represent the Springfield Local School District with respect to education law-related matters in Exhibit 9.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Mary Lou.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Lance?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 16, donations. 16.1, Fred W. Albrecht Grocery Company. Donation of $211.35 from the Fred W. Albrecht Grocery Company to the Springfield Sparkles team. 6.2, Anonymous donation of $300 to be used to help families with pay to participate. 16.3, Importers Direct, donation of 10,000 disposable masks from Importers Direct to be used as needed throughout the district. 16.4, Cargill, grant for $20,000 from Cargill to Spring Hill Elementary to purchase Chromebooks. 97 Chromebooks were able to be purchased with those funds. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Mary Lou.
Mr. Lance?
I just, real quick, just want to thank all these donations, especially that last one for 97 more Chromebooks for the district. That's huge with the remote days that we've been having for state testing, the virtual learning and everything. That's a great need, and just want to thank all the donations.
Thank you, Chad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Item 17, Treasurer's Report. Chris?
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
You need to finish the vote.
Roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, very
You got
good.
one vote in.
I got ahead of myself. Thank
I
you.
got a yes from Mr. Lance. Mr.
Yes.
Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Motion now passes. Thank you.
I was like,
I don't.
but I was listening. Tonight, we're going to discuss something that I discussed with Mr. Hofer in my office. He got a recommendation, he got a request from a citizen, and here's another example of how difficult it is in a school environment to raise money. What we did is revenues in the last 10 years. And it's kind of a startling amount. There's two topics I want to discuss, and I can't believe I haven't discussed this beforehand. But the only reason I didn't is I was unaware, but it's been out in social media. One is I read a lot where people say, "Why, you went from 3,000 to 2,000 and you didn't do anything about it." Well, when I got here 11 years ago, we were in the middle of fiscal emergency. And what we did is, Mr. Hofer had started the process, but we took out $4 million out of our budget. We re-engineered our district. We did recognize that our attendance went down significantly. And Mr. Stauffer felt that was one of the first things you had to address. I think people forget, too, that Springfield Local Schools was the only district that was in fiscal emergency to get out of fiscal emergency without asking new money. The only one. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that we recognized that, unfortunately, we had too many employees. And the prior superintendent just couldn't do it. And I fully understand that. It's a very difficult thing to do. But we had to do it. I mean, if we didn't do it, we'd be sitting with the fiscal commission in our backyard forever. So we did it, got out of it. So I just want to, when people say that we didn't adjust the expenditures down from the prior enrollment down to the current enrollment, we did do that. The big problem we have, and I've been spouting this since I've been here, is we do not have friends in Columbus. Look at this. Just look at this, how much money we got in 2011 and how much money we have now. Over a 10-year period. 10 years. We were only receiving 3.64% more than we received 10 years ago. That's a 0.36. 0.36 increase per year if you average it out over 10 years. 0.36. Well, guess what? Our expenditures go up 2 to 3% a year. On a good year, on a great year, you can get below 2%. But that's very difficult because our expenditures are mandated because of contracts and healthcare. If my healthcare went up 0.3% a year, like my revenues did, we wouldn't be standing here in the position we're in. It's just a common fact. Expenditures go up. The state has a responsibility of funding quality education. When you're a very wealthy district, you go to your taxpayers and they just pass levies. That's how it works. When you go to a district like Springfield and Coventry and Manchester and Mogador and Barberton and all these other what I call districts that live in the rural world, we get ourselves in trouble. We don't get ourselves in trouble. Columbus gets us in trouble. I think we just need to understand that the Treasurer's Office is very proud of what we do. We've managed our money very well. We're one of the few districts in the state of Ohio that ever went 20 years. I can say this until I'm blue in the face, but I'm still going to say it. It needs to be heard. It's backed up by state auditing teams every year. I just implore the electorate out there that other districts aren't standing still. Other districts are moving ahead. They're building athletic complex. They're bringing in student athletes. We're just trying to maintain right now. If we do not change, we're going to be, I don't know if we're ever going to get caught up. You know, we always hear on the national level what they call income disparity. One of our national politicians talk about that a lot. He's very flamboyant, you know. Well, there is education disparity going on in the state of Ohio, and that scares the heck out of me. It shouldn't. Our kids shouldn't be victims of that. Until they fix the state of Ohio the way we fund schools, this is the game we have to play. I don't like it. No treasurer likes it. Something has to be done. But until that time comes, we owe it to our children to provide the best possible education. They deserve it. They deserve it now more than ever after what they haven't gone through for the last year and a half. That's it. Thanks for everybody for coming. I appreciate it. We need more people here.
I agree.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. Chris, I do want to point out, I love the spreadsheet you put together. I looked up real quick while you were presenting, and the inflation rate over the last 10 years has gone up 18.6%.
Right.
So, you know, our cost of goods and services continues to far outpace our revenues.
It does.
Plus the state mandates that they don't fund.
There is some bright spots maybe coming. I think the severity of the situation has gotten a bipartisan, the Patterson group is forging ahead. They're not giving up. The way they fund charter schools may be changing in the near future. And I welcome that type of, because people need to realize 80% of our kids in the state of Ohio are educated by local school districts. That's not going to change. I don't know why people think that it's going to change. It's not. So.
And I think you bring up a great point that today parents and students are highly mobile. You know, the state has made it that way. With the state legislature has allowed students and parents to be highly mobile. They encourage it even, and it's a competition for students. And too often we're losing to school districts that financially can provide more than we can. So we've got to compete better for those students. Thank you, Chris. Item 18, Business Managers Report. Dustin?
Good evening. I want to update you tonight on an opportunity that came up yesterday to host a COVID-19 vaccination site here at Springfield High School. That vaccination clinic will take place Thursday, April 22nd. That is this Thursday. The vaccination clinic will first be for students age 16 and older here at the school during the school day. That is voluntary for those students. We've released information in the consent forms for them to sign up for that they'll be able to get that during the day here. And then in the evening, community members ages 16 and over will be eligible. We will hold a first come, first served walk-up clinic here in the junior high gym right off the cafeteria here. Will be available from 3 to 6 p.m. that evening. This is in partnership with Summit County Health Department. They will be on site and stay till 6 to provide those vaccinations to community members ages 16 and older. We have several Facebook posts out there with the information on it and access to the consent form, or there will be some available here the day of the vaccination if you're unable to download and print those at home prior to coming. So again, if you are interested and have not been able to get a vaccination, they are the Pfizer vaccinations, and that clinic will be this Thursday, April 22nd, be during the day for the school, for the students here at Springfield High School, and then from 3 to 6 p.m. on a first come, first served basis. Quantities may be limited for community members ages 16 and older. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dustin. Item 19, Superintendents Report. Chuck?
Thank you, Mr. Hess. Good evening. First, I want to thank Mr. Boswell and all the folks that put together this vaccination clinic here, right here at the Springfield High School. Excited about it. Also want to thank the Summit County Public Health for working closely with the schools and making it happen. This is great news for our community and our children, so thank you for that. Each time we receive a donation, you'll see we put that at the on our board agenda and recognize those donations. We take them in. We're proud of them. And we talk about, this evening we took a donation in from the Albrecht Company for our Sparkle cheerleaders. We had, a week ago, we had an individual walk into our office, laid down $300 and says, I want to help support a student in the participation of an athletic program. We had these importers direct said they had 10,000 disposable masks to be used throughout the district. And then we have a Cargill with their grant of $20,000 to help purchase electronic devices for our children, 97 Chromebooks. These types of donations are so great for our district and our children. We really appreciate it. So we always want to recognize these folks. We're proud of them for making those donations, and our students need them. Each year, in the first week of May, is a national, what we call Teachers Appreciation Week. It's celebrated that full week of May. And as we wrap up, get close to the end of the school year, and April's coming, the month of April's coming to an end, I want to recognize not only our teachers, but the support staff and all the folks that work with our children to help them be successful. And it takes everybody to work together. When you talk about, if you look at a child in the morning, they get up, they get on a bus, the first person they meet is the driver of the bus. That's an important part of the day. Getting them to school safely, have them enter into the building. At that time, they may meet our resource officers. We have great folks from the village of Lakemore. We have folks from Springfield Township, school resource officers. They may have a chance to meet if they are participating in the meal program, meet the folks in the cafeteria. All these people play an important role in the education of a child, and we want to recognize them. So, Teacher Appreciation Week coming up. Do you know what teacher thank a teacher? These teachers serve on the front line of public education, make a difference every day. In honor of their dedication, which is this year is going to be May 3 through 7, it's been set aside as Teacher Appreciation Week. Schools and communities across the United States will take time that week to thank teachers for the crucial role that they play in the child's lives. Teachers play a critical role in educating and shaping our children, the future leaders of our community. They're kind, patient, hardworking, dedicated, understanding professionals that mold our children's lives in a positive direction. We entrust our children with the teachers, and they affect their lives on a daily basis. In Springfield, we're blessed to have teachers and our support staff who are committed to their students and student learning. I encourage you to say thank you to these folks that you see around this district area. They're appreciated for all that they do. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Item number 20, items worthy of your note. April 29th, Top 25 Awards. May 21st, Prom. May 24th, Senior Awards. May 26th, Students' Last Day. May 26th, end of fourth quarter, second semester. May 27th, Teacher's Last Day. May 28th, graduation, E.J. Thomas Performing Arts Hall. Item number 21, citizen comments. Again, there will be no time limit tonight. We welcome any comments that you might have. Seeing no comments, I'll move to item 22, board members informal. Anybody like to start?
Yeah, first off, looking at item 20, items worthy of your note, I'm just glad to see back on there the top 25 awards, the prom, the graduation, those things that all these kids missed last year. I think that's just, we're not out of it yet. We're getting closer every day, I feel, but to see those things on there is just a ray of sunshine right now for these kids, especially the seniors. There's also the senior awards on there as well. Second, with what happened here last week, as disgusting as it was, it's my opinion, my belief that no one at this table, no one in the central office, no one in this building, Schropp, Young, Spring Hill, had anything to do with it. I think this was an individual act. And to hold that against this district with a levy coming up, to me, it's just another excuse. These kids in this building, in all our buildings, they need this levy. They need it more than anything right now. This district needs it. What happened last week has nothing to do with the kids in this district. That was one of the first and most important things I took from the FBI's release, that it was no student in this district. And that right there says a lot. These kids need this. They need our help and our support. And I'm asking for the community to come out and show them the support they need.
Thank you, Chad. Well, please continue. I didn't mean to stop you. I didn't mean to interrupt, sorry.
No, I was finished. Thank you.
Thank you. Dave?
Yeah, I agree with what you say, Chad. The 10-year flat levy, Eric Stewart, who's written letters to the board, wanted to know this information, and I think it's very valuable to show that this is a flat line, to use a medical term, and everything that we've tried to save and keep, we've had to wrestle with not much money coming in. So Chad's right. If you look at property taxes over the last 11 years, there was 5 of them in the 06-08 era. Those went down in flames. 2 of them last year went down in flames. August and November. And people advised the board we needed a different route to take. And so we chose this income tax. And I know it's ruffled feathers, and I was asked to reconsider it, to pull it, and my thought was, let's let the constituents weigh in on this. It's something we need to plan. I've been in this district 32 years, and I know, Mary Lou, you've been in it a lot longer than I have. And every 2.5, 3 years, when you see a renewal levy come back up, it's like, again, we have plans. There is plans, this board, we have talked about this, try to consolidate those renewals into one, so we don't see them all the time, and to try to move this district forward. I have told, matter of fact, when I was board president last year, I said, I can't compete with a field and athletic complex out in the back like that. Things have filtered down to the high school level. I'll use our neighbor over here to the kind of northeast, Mogador. Go look at Norton's field. It is a beautiful field. We will lose people coming to this community if we can't support a facility that we can be proud of. We took a lot of heat over having an idea of, hey, this is what we would like, and we took a lot of heat over that. You can't plan if you don't have a vision, and we did that so we would have a vision of the future. We don't have the money for it now, and we look to have that money in the future at some point in time where we can compete. This building is a colossal idea that the community came together and said, yeah, based on your needs, you need this. We had issues with it, sure did. But a lot of school buildings that were built in the state of Ohio had a lot of other issues. We weren't the only one, and we made it through it. We had to sacrifice a few things in the grand plan of things. But as Chad said, we do need this levy. We have watched what we've tried to give out, we negotiate with our 3 unions and try to have a fair negotiations. But you can only squeeze so much blood out of a turnip.
I'm just hoping that everyone is able to go out and vote on May 4th. Please support our schools. These kids, sometimes you can get by with the basics. These kids they don't deserve basics. They deserve a good education, a good rounded education. They deserve what I had when I went to school here. Of course, that was in the early 60s and when I graduated, and there was never a money issue because when the evaluations went up, the schools got a raise. Well, they stopped that with House Bill 920. So now you have to beg and borrow and plead and beg. So I just hope that you'll reach down deep in your heart and vote yes for these kids. They're good kids. The incident that happened, I think, just absolutely stunned and shocked us all. That has no reflection on what goes on in our classrooms. That was an incident that, unfortunately, we had no control over. But our classrooms need to be good classrooms and a good, well-rounded education. And I want to thank all the donations that came in too. That's pretty special.
Thank you, Mary Lou.
I know that we've taken a few punches to the gut lately, but I'm very encouraged by the way the staff has stepped up, the continuation of these events that Chad talked about, the positive things that continue to go on in the district. They're things that give everybody hope. The vaccination plan that's going to happen this week, the way that we want to help students. I just think if we can start focusing on the positive, I think that's our best way to move forward, and that's what we need to do now.
Thank you, Larry. You know, I know that my words can't, they won't do justice what my heart feels for what has happened. My emotions over the past few days have run the gamut. They continue to do so. First, I would like to thank the FBI and our local law enforcement for everything that they are doing to keep our children safe. That's very much appreciated. And I think that when this is over, I think the healing will start. And I hope that we're stronger after we have healed from this. That's all I have. Item 23, adjournment. It is recommended that the meeting be adjourned at this time.
Neil?
Refresh, I added the.
I'm sorry?
Executive session.
Oh, yes, I am sorry. I forgot. We did not cover all the items we needed to cover in executive session, because we wanted to get back out of respect for your time. So at this time, item
23.
23. Thank
Dustin,
you.
can you adjust that?
It has been added, you may need to refresh your screen.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not refreshing at the moment, Dustin. It's not, my connection might be bad, but looks like I've lost my connection.
Yeah, it came
What-
up,
did it?
it's there.
Yeah, it is the same language as the first session.
All right. Item 23, executive session. It is recommended that the board go into executive session at this time to discuss the employment, dismissal, discipline, demotion, or compensation of an employee, the investigation of charges or complaints against an employee, conference with the board's attorney to discuss matters which are subject of pending or imminent court action, preparing for negotiations with employees.
So move.
Second?
Who motion?
Chad? And thank you for reminding me.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Ms. Dodson?
Yes.
Petrie?
Yes?
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Lance?
Yes. And just to note, there will be no business after executive session.
That is correct. Thank you.